Hello, everybody. Hi, and hello to Ayé. Welcome to our Empowerment Talk. It's our fourth round now. My name is Priscilla. I'm the host from the NGO We Integrate from Nuremberg. And yes, we love to have you here today to our monthly talk. It will happen today, the next one in January. And today we are talking about trauma and grief because you, Tobi, you're a somatic grief worker and educator, and I'm really excited to hear a lot about what can grief and trauma work do for us as people who are facing racism negative, what can empower us. And yeah, it's lovely to have you here. So, my dear, maybe we start with a very simple question. How are you today? Who are you? Three question. And what are you doing?
Thank you, Danny. It's three questions. Thank you so much for inviting me, Priscilla. Thank you so much. Your invitation came and really I received it so warmly, and I'm always happy to share and to talk about trauma and grief, especially in our community where we don't want to hear so much about trauma and grief most of the time. And it always makes me happy when I'm given the space to talk and explore trauma and grief. And though I think when I say we don't want to talk about it, I think it was a couple of years ago. Now it feels like we are more and more open to that. And yeah, it's great. My name is Tobi Ayé. I am born and raised in Benin in West Africa. And I've been living outside of the country of Benin now. It's been almost 15 years. I lived in Germany. I'm a mother of two children, 10 and 6 years old, and I'm a somatic practitioner. And I like to say I'm a cultural somatic practitioner, and my topics are grief and trauma, or trauma and grief. Yeah. So today I'm based in Lisbon, and I've been working, or working, educating from here since 4 years now, since the COVID, when I moved from Berlin to Lisbon. Yeah. So yeah,
Mhm.
otherwise I'm good. I think your second question was this, how you are doing today.
Mhm.
Really good. Happy. I was really excited about our conversation today. And yeah, I'm feeling really great to be in
That's
your presence. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. So yes, we were also really happy because in our empowerment talks, we want to talk what makes us stronger. And now you talked about somatic, you're a somatic educator. Maybe you can explain this some small and how this makes us stronger, maybe before we go deeper into the trauma and grief work, maybe only to explain the work somatic so that people have an idea what does it mean.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I like to say that it's just a fancy word to say body, you know, or the really trendiest and newest word to say body. Otherwise, we can just say it's body. Soma is the body. It's a Greek word for body. And being our somatic and being interesting to somatic, doing somatic work means that we focus on the body. We bring attention more to the body to just explanation and talking about what happened to us. I will ask you, how are you feeling? Where do you feel it in your body? What did you just explain to me? Right. So somatic, it's a way of, I think now it's so trendy and but it's actually just the moment where you invite somebody to feel something in their body, they're already doing somatic, right? And somatic can also be movement and body movement ranging from many disciplines or in the body work fields that counts for somatic. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
soma is the body, and
Mhm.
being a somatic practitioner is working, helping people to be more in their body, to be more embodied, because that's where everything happens, actually. And especially trauma. Trauma happens in the body. Trauma is not what we talk about, but is the way the body reacts to something after something happens, yeah? Or when we are currently going through something, yeah.
Yes, that would be my next question. Why is somatic and or the body and trauma connected with each other? Of course, I have some ideas, but maybe some people are completely new into this field. So maybe you can share your perspective about trauma and also what you already said. How does it affect the body?
Yeah, totally. I would like to give definition, and at the same time not even explain or giving technical definitions of trauma, because we have too much the tendency, especially somatic practitioners, to use this really, ways and really complicated way to talk about trauma and everything. And I can say something we can consider trauma. One of the definition will be too much, too fast without adequate care, right? If something is too quick and too much on you, too fast without care, and also completely maybe the opposite, too little, too slow without care, right? This could be for the case of abandonment, for instance, when we receive way too little care and way too little support in our lives. And I also like to say we also have the tendency to think that trauma is something that happens, right? Sometimes, and most of the time, is something that didn't happen. Should have happened, and the body expecting it, and it didn't happen. Like the support you did not receive, right? The love, the care you did not receive. And I like to talk about racism, for instance, and how, for instance, when a Black person is going through racism in the street, where, for instance, let's talk about the everyday racism. We know racism is not all in the street. We have structural racism that is another level and everything. But let's talk about basic, simple racism and how we talk about how it shows in the body, right? So imagine you are used to take a U-Bahn in your street or in your city, and you know that in that U-Bahn something always happens, right? Or last time you entered it, something happened and somebody shouted at you, and you could not receive any care. There were nobody there. Everyone around you that are white could not respond or help you in that situation. Everyone ignore you, right? So you, as a racialized body, what will happen is that shame will build on your body automatically. Your nervous system will turn into a certain way. Tomorrow, if you want to take that train, that urban again, you will be like this. You will be in a certain way. You will be full of this memory. But this memory is not just images and everything. It becomes also a form and an attitude that your body will take, right? It will be full of fear. You will maybe be shaking, and you will be like trembling, not really, or almost suffocating. You might need to stop taking that metro, that Uber for 1 month, for your body to readjust a little bit before you are able to go to the Uber again, right? So, you know where the trauma is? Most of the time, we would like to think that, oh, the trauma is the racist person attacking you in the train. Maybe, but it's also the care you did not receive. It's also the white people sitting and everyone ignoring you in that space. That's especially that is the trauma. Because you know what will happen, Jeanette? The moment, I swear, the moment something is happening to you, and out of nowhere, 10 white people be like, no, don't touch her, no way or anything, and defend you. How does it feel for you?
Would be like, yes, look at this. They're fighting for me.
That's it. That's it. And that's what as a racialized body, we don't have,
Mm-hmm.
right? As a racialized body, you always think that you are alone, and we are alone, you know, and there is never that care and attention towards us in a, you know, majority white society. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how what trauma is, right? What trauma could be actually racialized trauma, and how the body will adjust or will react to that. Yeah.
Oh, I love the perspective coming from there is something missing. Because if there's something missing, I have the chance, but we come later to this, to make it maybe by myself, to give me by myself something to overcome the situation. But first of all, I wanted go back to the somatic, to the body. I'm sure the body has possibilities as well in this moment when let's take the U-Bahn example, that you want to go to the U-Bahn, to the metro, and then you feel like, oh God, I can't, you are blocked, yes, and maybe you have some or one short idea. I'm not going so deep into how a person can start with this situation to work by themselves,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Okay, you mean to give an example of how they can overcome that and start going back to the urban,
With
right?
only for this situation.
Only for this situation. I will say give yourself time. We can never force the body, right? What is happening at the nervous system level, right? So the way I will work with people in that case, for instance, will be to first give time to the body, yeah, and then after to slowly do some stuff to remind the body that it's not, the body is not alone, basically. There are people that can help you. There are people that can support you. And the reality is that we always, trauma happens in relationships, right? It's, though we might think that being in the metro we are completely alone and an individual in the metro, we are in relationships with others in the metro, right? So that's why trauma happens in in relationship is that person aggressing you is in a way in relationship with you. The people around you are in a way in a relationship. Your body is in a relationship with them. So now trauma happens in relationship. Healing or really expanding your nervous system also happen in a relationship. We cannot do it alone. It's just not easy to do it alone. Your process will take longer. So I like to say that most of the time in Eurocentric way of doing somatic, we like to think that people are alone and we give them stuff to do or to in a way that they are just individuals and no one is around them. When I work with people, I will tell you who do you trust around you? Who cares for you? Who protects you? Who, no matter what is happening, who loves you around you? And you will find it. Even if it's not a human being, right? Even if it's an ancestor, even if it's a tree, even if it's a dog, even if it's a plant, there is somebody where when you close your eyes and think about it, you can say, yes, no matter what is happening to me, this person will always be there for me. So now we will use that person as a resource, right? To show your nervous system again that it deserves care, it has care, and slowly you start expanding yourself and you might be able to go to the urban in a couple of weeks, but always listen to the wisdom of your body. If it does like that, it means that it's not feeling good, and we should never force the body.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that we're not alone, that we have the resources or the people or animals or trees, like you said, and to give our nervous system the time or also the space that somebody is there. It's I hear that and it was like, yes, it was like ice cream for me. Like, how can I say it? It felt warm, it felt safe, and it makes sense. Also, this what you said from the beginning, that trauma is something, there's a lack of something, and that we have the possibility with our resources, which we wrote down for us, to close this lack. It's awesome. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. I love it. And what I also realize, but what I realize sometimes is when we facing such situations, and then, for example, again, the metro situation, I have to go to my work. So that means either I can take the bicycle, it takes me maybe 30 minutes longer, and I can't manage this in the morning because maybe I have children or something else, you know. And then now I'm forced to do it. You said, okay, we should listen to it, to your body, but I know it for myself. Since I'm a child, I had so many different difficulties, traumas, that I learned to überspielen, to overload them, to not hear my body, to not feel my body, because I have to work. So the somatic, the body, how can we go back to the point that we feel ourselves better, to come to the point to see the resources we have to give us?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what, I love your question, and I love the way you phrase it. I love what you mentioned, right? That we need to be, we are in this situation, but at the same time, we need to go to the work, you know, and or to take the child to the school. All these things, we cannot just be like, oh, my body doesn't want, you know, and you
Okay,
know, yeah,
bye-bye.
let me go back home, you know, no,
Today, no work. Bye-bye.
don't work. Either way, my body is wise. I wish we could do that. Actually, I wish and dream about that society would do that. But we can't, because our society is not trauma informed and is not grief informed. Especially now we start to talk about trauma, and we start to be a bit more trauma informed. But systemic, I will even say our societies is not society, it's systemic trauma informed. Because what happened to you as a Black person, or as an Indian, or as a Chinese in the metro, is systemic, right? Or as a Syrian, or as a Palestinian, is systemic. And we are not in Palestine here. We are not you know, so we are not in I don't know, in India. So the society that we are in is not acknowledging what we are going through as a racialized bodies. So of course, you need to go to the work. Yeah. But you know what? I tell people you do need to go to work, because unfortunately our society are not like this. But you need you to be aware. That's why it's so important why we know trauma, we know the mechanism, how it happens. And I tell most of the time people, you just need to give one call to a friend, and to just say, this just happened to me. You know, give yourself 5 minutes and call a friend. Give yourself 5 minutes and shout somewhere before you go to work. Otherwise, you might kill your boss. And you
Maybe
will
not
end
that
up,
bad.
and we know where you will end up. Right?
Mhm.
Yes. So is the body just needs 5 to 10 minutes. Always remember that what your nervous system needs is someone, is connection, is co-regulation. Yeah. So we like to talk about also in somatic about regulation, and regulation is something like you must be regulated. That's great. White people must be regulated, maybe. But as a Black person and racialized person in this society, no, we shouldn't be regulated. I even encourage not to be regulated, but know that regulation exists. Yeah. Because when we say that we need to be regulated, we are also putting something on you. It's like, oh, Priscilla is not regulated. She cannot calm herself. She's always angry. She's always mad. Yes, but all the conditions around Priscilla is making her to be mad, to be angry. Every So it's not Priscilla, it's her environment, right? So that's where I say we cannot just be regulated when our container isn't. Yeah, where you are beautifully dressed, happy to leave home to go to work, and as soon as you get outside, there is already somebody saying something. You are in the bus, somebody saying something. You are in the metro, somebody saying something, and your entire day happens like that. And these are the racism everyday racism we know, right? And all the hidden and all the structural racism are added on top of that, right? So, or maybe you get to work, you were waiting for a job promotion, and just because you realize, just because you are a Black woman, dark skin, you could not get that, and another person get that. Maybe a white man or a light skinned person get that, and you realize, yeah, this is because I'm dark skinned. They didn't find that I will be competent enough for this job. How do you do? How can you be regulated in that society? Yeah. So that's where I prefer to talk about co-regulation. For me, co-regulation is most important than self-regulation. We need to call somebody first. The nervous system is not wired to regulate itself alone, especially a racialized nervous system in a systemic and traumatic society. Yeah. So that's why it is possible for me to go towards a society where we believe and we encourage and we foster most of the time co-regulation. What does it mean? It's just calling somebody, just knowing that if I call this person will pick up, right? And having the possibility to talk to somebody. So again, the situation of the metro, you need to go to work and this happens. You cannot go back home and lay down. No, and I think you shouldn't even go back home to lay down. Otherwise, you might get into high frozen states and have no capacity to come out of that. Maybe it's better to continue your way. Maybe it's better to call a friend first, right? To chit chat, put your music, do something, and talk with someone as soon as possible. Naturally, the nervous system is so magic. Whenever you see that somebody is supporting you, it comes naturally. Before you even take your money to call your therapist or anything, I say, people, don't call me. I don't want your money. Don't call me. Call a friend first. Yeah. If we are used to calling more our friends, our moms, our partners, and everything, and we don't feel constantly alone in situations, right? This entire system of therapies that anything will even also fall down naturally. Yeah. And that's another thing that people don't want to. Let's be honest, because it's a system that gives money. It's a system that is a business.
Yes. It's a system made from white people.
It's
So, yes.
super capitalist. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You touched me, especially really with it's so easy to call a friend, to call my sister, to call, that's so, and maybe also to make upfront an arrangement like, hey, when I come in this situation, can I call you? So to have the allowance also, you know, it's like, because sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to be
I will
annoying.
disturb.
And all of them, they have all their own struggles, they have children, whatever, you know, and then you're like frozen, alone, and yeah, you don't give yourself the allowance. And I love that to shout this out now more to, yeah, call
Total,
me.
total,
Yeah,
total.
yeah.
And I don't know if it because I'm born in Benin or and when I bring that into my work with clients, people are really, is that's it? Yeah, I'm like, yes,
Not
that's
not miracle. Hello.
no, 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 no. Don't have to journal. Like, I'm not that person that will tell you need to journal. Why?
Mm,
Why do you need to journal if you can call a friend?
mm,
And a therapist will tell you you need to journal. Why therapist? You need to journal. We don't need to journal. Journaling is beautiful and it's great. And I journal too,
mm,
right? But I think because I'm born in
mm,
Benin, because I grew up with so many people around me, I
mhm,
would first share my story.
mhm,
And
mhm,
because maybe I'm oral, coming from oral tradition,
mhm,
I will always first have the tendency to call first,
mhm,
to
mhm,
share first, to really be like, hey, help me.
mhm, mhm,
Before I sit and write, journaling is a capacity that we need to have. Journaling can be intimidating,
mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm,
Yeah, and there's another layer again before you can even trust your nervous system to write down something.
mhm,
The first thing you can do that first comes in us and from little as a baby.
mhm,
Baby children, they don't write journal. When they're
mhm,
in a fear situation, they scream.
mhm,
And mama came, or baba, that mama comes, or papa comes, mama gives the breast, the change. These are how baby finds safety
mhm,
by screaming, right? So
mhm,
it must be the same for us. Baby don't write down anything like, oh, I was so sad, I
mhm,
wanted
mhm,
to, no, they don't write anything down. So I will say we need to teach people to receive help, to call, to be vulnerable again, vulnerable enough to call on people. Most of the time, I like to see our fear of vulnerability is supremacist. Our fear of being vulnerable is white supremacy, is the whiteness in us that doesn't want to show, to be humbled, basically. It is humbling to call for help or to call for help. And most of the time, when people don't want to do it, I ask them, let's check on your whiteness.
mhm. It makes sense. Yeah. Mhm,
Because if you are humble, you acknowledge that something happened to you and that you need another human being around you, right?
mhm.
But when we are in this supremacist nervous system and state, we don't want to receive help.
Because we are strong and we can do
You are
everything by
strong and you can
ourselves.
do everything by yourself.
Mhm,
This itself is supremacist.
mhm,
So that's how also we define resilience is the capacity to come back quickly from something that happened to you. And people like, I'm resilient, I'm resilient. My definition of resilience is the capacity to fall, is our capacity to fall, to call for help, is our capacity to receive help. That's for me resilience. It's not my capacity to be like that. Because my capacity to fall down and to call on help is what will make me be like this in dignity with others. Not only me being like this, No, this is supremacist.
I'm learning a lot, really, and I'm so thankful because since 1 year now, I'm living most of the time in Ghana, and this is also a collective system, when I can say it like that, a collective system where the people, families are living together, sharing everything, like you said, like you all also grew up in Benin with the same experience of when something happens, then you talk with somebody, because somebody is always around, and for me, of course, I'm totally not used to it. I grew up very in a very Eurocentric
Yeah.
system, or with also European people, not the whole time with our mother. So I realize right now here what does it mean also when it comes to that the community has power, because when you talked, it was like, okay, when I go to the community and inform the community or my people about what happened, they can see, okay, it happens not only me, other people are also affected, and also like I'm not alone. So it makes something with the community, so the community can learn out of it and also can grow out of it and get stronger, isn't it? So yeah,
Completely.
yeah, yes.
Completely.
Mm,
Completely. And it doesn't make you weak.
mm,
It doesn't make you weak to ask for help.
mm,
Yeah. Actually makes you stronger.
mhm,
Yeah. And in most cases, you know, when something happened to you at home and you don't share, you will see. I grew up seeing really harsh reaction coming from parents, coming from those who love us, when finally they hear after that something happened to us
mhm,
and you could not share.
mhm,
You know what it means? Most of the time, when you don't share with somebody that something happened to you, and when people couldn't come to help you, it means that you don't trust them. And most of the time, people will tell you, Priscilla, does it mean you don't trust me?
mhm,
They will put completely aside what happened to you.
mhm,
Yeah. So when we don't have the capacity to ask for help, to
mhm,
reach out to the community most of the time takes it as she doesn't trust her anymore. She doesn't think that we can do anything for her anymore.
mhm,
And this can even create conflicts in
mhm,
most families, in most tribes, in most communities, most neighborhoods, right?
mhm, mhm,
And it goes for grief, for instance.
mhm,
When I talk about grief, I'm not only talking about human death and human loss, but let's take an example of human loss.
mhm,
The moment when you hear the news that you have lost somebody, you must share. If you don't share, it means that you are excluding your community. And people will get mad at you because you did not share. They will not even care about your grief anymore. Your grief is not an issue anymore. It's you not sharing with them. We will become an issue. You see what I mean?
totally.
And when I see situation in Europe where people go through human loss and it's like I don't want to share because I don't want to disturb the other one.
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
It's fine. And you go to funerals where there are only 5 people.
mhm, mhm,
Where do you find that?
mhm. Can't find this here in Ghana. No.
Funeral, everyone comes. Is the
Mm,
moment your
mm,
grief is for everyone. Yeah.
mm,
And it's the same thing I transpose in trauma, the way I work around trauma and somatic. And your trauma belongs to everyone. Whatever happens to you belongs to the community, at least to those who you trust. Yeah.
mhm,
And that's what is making you stronger. You
mhm,
sharing that something happened to you in that metro, in that moment, will help you quickly, your nervous system, to find itself, to find again the capacity to widen so you can go to work for the entire day and come back,
mhm,
and maybe in the evening you want to give more time to process in a
mm,
way. In the
mm,
evening, you want to think more, process more, and feel into more in it. But at least the fact that you call on somebody helped you to go through the day, you know? And you need to vent. You just need to vent. It's just natural. It's the most natural thing the nervous system needs. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm fascinated also from the aspect that it has so much to do with trust. And when I see, I often speak about that I feel that the community maybe does not have the motivation to bring something up to fight against racism in different kind of programs or projects. And we are often talking about this, like, where are our people? Why are they not there? And I was thinking, like, okay, if I would share maybe more of the pain, the grief, the trauma I had, maybe it would be like that the people have more trust in that they can be there for me, that
That's
we
it.
can be there for each other, and this trust wiederum shows us that we belong together, that we are there for each other, and it makes also like more abundancy, Bindung zueinander.
Yeah.
That's
Now, yeah, to be interconnected. Totally, totally. Do you know, I mean, look, now we are this generation, we are talking more about trauma and anti-racism, but you know, the generation before, they were not doing that, right? They were really like into their own thing. I'm here to study, and we are just here. I'm already so grateful for to be in Europe, and it's I don't want to complain about Europe and all these things. So many Black and racialized people of the generation before us have been in these states, not, and that's also something that creates what like I completely understand they needed to survive at a certain point, and they needed to do that. But what this created is this thing of you almost saying, where are my people? You know, where are my people? Imagine we share more. Today we are more aware of our conditions. We like to talk about it because we are talking more and more about it. And that's what is making us be connected and be human, right? Yeah. That's how I can end up in a room today. That's even how they came up with the name POC, and it's all these things, because yeah, it feels like BIPOC and everything, we need it at a certain point to come and see each other, being each other in the same room, going through talking about our thing, because we're going through our struggles connects us. So our joy and our love and everything. But we do need to acknowledge that, yeah, maybe we're going through the same struggles. And when we share it, it connects us deeper. Otherwise, if it's a joy, we just want to talk about joy and love and everything, it's artificial. It's artificial. Yeah. We need to acknowledge everything that connects us. And sometimes it's also trauma, sometimes it's also grief. And that's when we acknowledge that, it brings much more love and joy and connection in the community. Yeah.
One point, I often realize that when we, for example, we have in Nuremberg the Black Community meeting once in a month, people coming together, doing from going to the cinema to theater or other activities. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's like that somebody starts to share the story from the metro, from the U-Bahn, and then maybe 3 other people are re-traumatized because they know it and they feel like very uncomfortable. Of course, they want to be there for the other person, but it's like they don't have the capacity because it's not a solved problem for them as well. So I realized like it's so difficult when we come together as people who are facing negative racism, that we don't come into the strudel, into the fountain or the place
Yeah.
that we all like, that we have to, or we want to grieve. We want to speak about our trauma, but we don't know how to do it, that we don't come into my therapists were always saying dimension hole. So where I get like, and it takes me, and the grief
Yes.
the sadness takes me. But if you are not around, if I'm not in one of your, and this is also where I want to hear something about what you are working, or how do you work with groups, because this is the place where I should come and bring all my trauma and grief, to have the space and somebody there who's educating me how to manage my sadness, because this is often a big problem in this community, is that it's like, okay, it's too much. I can't hear what you say because I don't have a solution. And
Exactly.
so how can we, so there are 2 questions. First
Yeah.
question, how is there a gap in between I'm calling you and telling about my metro story, and we are ending this phone call, and both of us, we are cool, and not one is like, oh my gosh, she gave me all her sadness. I'm also sad right now because the racist world is upfucked, and then you're going maybe, or you're getting angry. So this is one part, where's the gap, and the other part is, maybe you can describe your work, what you offer, so that the people also know, okay, because we all have trauma, we all are sad, we are living in this racist community, and it's so hard, it's so hard. And I think we need a place, a space. We need people like you, where we can go, where we can behold, in a way of, you're safe here, you know? And this is so important for me, because I think when we not grieve, when we not give us the space for trauma, we will not come to the point that I can call and I can share trust for the community. So this is for me really like, how can we do that? There are more questions than 2.
No, no, it makes sense totally. And thanks so much for asking that. It takes awareness. It takes awareness to be able to be like, Priscilla is calling and start sharing something. And it's not about me, but it's about receiving Priscilla. Right? So it's just a capacity we need to develop, how to receive each other and how not to mix each other's stories. So, for instance, if you're calling me, right, and telling me about your metro station, honestly, I will hear you, listen to you. Even if I'm not doing my work, I might be taking my child, not that moment. I'm in people's life as a friend or so, as a sister, right? And I'm not working with anyone. What I do is simply to receive people, to have that capacity to just receive people and not to be like, oh, by the way, yeah, this happened. Yesterday also something happened to me, right? So that's also why we need to have more spaces where we are sharing our thing. So the more I share my thing, maybe because I work enough on myself that when people call me or when people call, I have more capacity to receive them than putting my own thing on them or being triggered by the story, right? So being triggered by the story, if I feel like I'm being triggered by somebody's story, it means that it also talks to me about, oh, where I am in my own thing, in my own feelings, and what I'm dealing with, it feels like there is unprocessed thing there. And most of the time I say, yes, it's fine when we feel that there is unprocessed thing. It's okay. We just need to notice and then we process it in a way we know, oh, this is still hurting me, right? So all this to say, we need to train more our muscles to receive each other, right? Today you receive me and tomorrow maybe I receive you, right? And we need to trust each other. Most of the time when I'm working with people, I say, have that person that you can call all the time and tell that person, let that person know that when you're sharing, the person first knows that they can also call you after, right? So it's something that you are giving to each other first. And secondly, you can say something like, do you have the capacity to receive me, Priscilla, right now? Something happened I would like to share with you. And if I don't have the capacity, I will say, truly it feels like I'm not in a good moment. Maybe can you call me after or, something. That might even feel like a big rejection for the person, but asking for the permission, the person first to say, listen, something happened and I wonder if you have the capacity to receive me right now. That's it. It is really unfortunate that we have to get there to ask even permission. But maybe it's a big beginning because at home we don't have, even if I write that down, my mom will be like, what is this question? Or my auntie will be, what is even this question? Right? Yeah, exactly. So because we are in societies that are not in collectivity or don't know how to be in collectivity, right? We need to ask for permission first before we share our stuff. Yeah. But it's still okay, it's still enough, it's still better than staying alone with that. Yeah. Yeah. And to your second question, you ask how I work and
Maybe I
when
can.
yes, please do.
Because this topic is now something else came in my mind, and then maybe you can follow up with the way you work on that at work. No, it's a question. Sorry, like
Yeah.
the rejection, maybe is it not? Is it also a chance? Because when I can trust my people, like, hey, I'm so sorry, I don't have the capacity right now, then I know this person is honest and authentic to me, instead
That's it.
of I know when I tell this person my story, or I don't know that if he or she can play out her or his border, and this is.
Totally. Yeah, totally. That's why I'm like, it's okay as well to receive an answer like, I cannot right now, right? So it also makes you, if we are feeling each other and you trust your friends as well, it also makes you, wow, I'm so grateful she can even help answer me authentically that she can't, right? So let's play that now. Let's play that game, right? Yeah, try calling me and I tell you.
Hi, Tobi.
Hi, Priscilla.
How are you, my dear?
I'm good, and you?
I'm not that good, to be honest, and something happened, and I really want to share it with you, but I'm not sure if you have time and the capacity at the moment to take it. Maybe you can answer me this before I start talking.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing with me. It makes me happy to hear that you asking for my capacity first. I'm so sorry something happened to you. Yeah. Can we talk later? Because I'm not in a good moment right now. Could I call you maybe in the evening or in the afternoon? Because I'm also going through something personally, right?
Yes, of course, yes. And then I would love to hear as well what you Faced if you want to share it with me, and then we can
Yeah,
talk later.
maybe we talk later about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
thank you so much and
you. You're
talk soon.
welcome.
Yeah.
Send you a hug, so see you later.
You hugging
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye-bye. How does it feel?
Oh God, it's funny. I never tried it like this. It's not funny. It's like it's a nice feeling. Even if I don't had a chance to talk about my emotions, I feel immediately released. Also, when you said like, "Oh, I'm sorry that you went through something," you know, you don't have to hear my story to be empathic with me and give me the chance to release my nervous system. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Always
Mm.
something shifts.
Mm.
Just even by listening to my voice.
Mhm.
Yeah, it goes through the voice already. It
Mm.
goes through being received. And after the words we use, the story we tells or don't tell, it doesn't matter that much.
Mhm.
But it's already calling and being received. And or even it can go through message as well, right?
Mhm.
It can be just but I can be honest with people. Most of the time, when something happens to us, we don't have the capacity to write
Mhm.
message.
Mhm.
Though some
Mhm.
people have that, and
Mhm.
they're patient to write. I
Mhm.
personally will call immediately. That's what
Mhm.
I do, right? And it makes you feel like received, and sometimes we feel like okay, maybe we can be empathic without even exploring the entire story, with others.
Mhm.
It doesn't take me anything to be empathic with you. Even if
Mhm.
I'm going through something, it doesn't take any effort to just be like, I'm so sorry something happened to you.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm really touched. This is so because it's so easy. It's so and the yeah, what we can do in our community with even the small being empathic. We don't have to hear all the story, but like, hey, I'm so sorry for you. And of course, I know it. It's also part of my work, but when it comes to this community and trust issue, what I learned today much more. It's awesome. I really want to bring this into more into our empowerment work. But first of all, or the next point, really, how can people, for example,
Yeah,
my not only trauma, racism trauma, which I realized in my 39 years here on Earth, also
yeah,
maybe the transgenerational trauma from my mom or from my father. It's all here. It's all
yeah.
here. And I know what grief means. I know what kind of trauma work. There's a lot of trauma work, different trauma work you can do, but I would love to find out what can I do when I come to you and how do I have a space or how is the space created when I want to make grief work and trauma work at your side, please?
I don't know, honestly. That's the thing. I don't have like a protocol I follow every day.
Mhm.
No, because everyone is different, stories are different, bodies are different.
Mhm.
So what I pray for every day before I open my computer is whoever I'm seeing today, I don't know what they're bringing. And if they are coming home as well, either if I'm seeing them online, I don't know what they are bringing, but I just pray that I'm able to hold that with them. That's it. But I don't have a protocol like this
Mhm.
because it's changed from person to person.
Mhm.
And I'm just, guided in that moment to just do this, to just
Mhm.
do that. And I follow instinctively what you bring to me. And
Mhm.
that's the beauty I see in the work, at least, in the beauty I see in how working with trauma can be, right? Or working or doing grief work.
Mhm.
Because it's never the same. If I have to apply the protocol I applied to somebody 1 hour ago, it
Mhm.
won't work.
Yes.
It won't work at all because they're going through various and different kind of things. It's never the same, though you might think that it's the same. But the magic of the body is that if it's in different bodies, it's different ways of working. Yeah, right? So, a simple example, I can have somebody that go through the same train situation that we use, or urban situation. 5 people, 5 bodies will need 5 different things when they come in session. And I don't until they come. But one main thing is to empower the body. One main thing is to give agency, that the body find its agency back, because that's one thing that trauma takes from us. I also always say that trauma steals from something from us. Yeah, trauma steals our capacity to say no, to say stop, to say I don't want to, right? To react in a way, right? And trauma always removes something from us. And trauma is power. It's a power dynamic too. It's somebody with strong power putting something in you, or somebody with power to help you is not helping you, right? So trauma is power. So what we will do, whatever trauma you bring, or if it's racialized trauma or anything, even racialized trauma, is to teach the body that to gain its power back, to teach the body that it's a living things, right? So we might breathe, because that's another thing that trauma does to us, to make us stop breathing, right? So the moment we start breathing deeply, we start feeling, actually, I'm a body living, I'm a living body. And I can make this decision. I can make this. It takes time. It's not in one session, right? And we settle things. But yeah, working on the body, giving full agency, learn the body to trust itself, right? And regain its agency back. It's something that, whatever form it might take of, of the trauma of the person, whatever form it might take for me to work with you, that's one of the goals in the trauma work or in the grief work, to regain agency. Yeah.
Awesome. Not only for individuals, I think you also make group settings. So maybe you can shortly explain what kind of group settings do you have, so that people know, yeah, what you offer on this side, please.
Group settings, yeah, I love working in group, because, for me it's so important. Most of the time I start working with people, one-on-one work, and I quickly tell them, you need to come to my next workshop, for instance, because they are people, and it has to be where we are going in your process now. You need more bodies around you, right? Individual work, it's something that is so Eurocentric, one-on-one work. Yeah. As I said, non-Eurocentric way of working, of doing therapy, that we might not call therapy, because, this name is really Eurocentric, is always in group. It's always in group, and it has reasons. It's like, it's always in group. It's never like individual work or anything. So I think group is important, or groups are important for people to remind the nervous system that you are not alone. And this is not only happening to you, and that your nervous system is connected to more nervous system, to bigger nervous system, right? And finding them in group accelerates, accelerates quickly. It accelerates the process. And And yeah, I like to hold groups on grief because for me it's important, grief work in group. And also, anti-racism work in group, or though I don't call it necessarily anti-racism, I will call it space for Black people to come together, to be together, to see each other, because that's what is missing for us, right? That's why when we see each other in the metro, we are the only Black here and the other Black. We look at each other because
Mm-hmm.
we want to see each other, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In group accelerates a lot of work, but it needs for facilitators to know what they're doing because it can also, create things, create other dynamic, especially where we are now. So for me, I really, really, I cherish group work, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's um, it's important for the nervous system again, because again, the nervous system needs
Mm-hmm.
us around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and I would say then the nervous system is our community, which has to be
Ne-
connected.
Yeah, the nervous system nourishes itself through community, through
Mm,
others. Yeah,
mm, mm,
yeah, yeah.
mm,
It's the nervous system cannot flourish, cannot thrive alone.
mm,
Never,
mm,
never, never,
mm,
never.
mm,
We are born to be in group. We are biologically, it's even proven, right? That fear of the baby calling for their parents or it, is
mm,
I'm alone, I cannot, is the fear of losing her tribe or their tribe. It's
mm.
just possible to live alone. It's not possible. And when you see how our societies are built for us to be individualistic,
So
it's a
crazy.
way of killing us slowly. You see how we end up being at older people houses, nursing
Mm,
houses.
mm,
And when I see white elders like that, I'm sad.
mm,
Look, uh, take a look at. I I I was living in Berlin next to a nursing house. Yeah, I could not, never ever have seen a black person old. I mean, never in that house,
mm,
in those houses. It's
mm,
only white people,
mm, mm,
right? Because it feels it also economically expensive. It's something extremely expensive. And even if a black person has that money, they will not
I
put
will
themselves.
not
The family will
do.
never,
I can't
never
even imagine our belated mother in a elderly house.
elderly house. Yes,
It's not
yes,
possible.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly, exactly.
Oh, Toby, I can talk hours with you about this topic or these topics, but I also want to give our people who are with us here the chance to ask some questions and also come to gather in breakout rooms.
Yes,
So
please.
for
Yeah.
now, thank you. Thank you so much to give us the opportunity to understand better, to learn better that our nervous system is needs the community, that when we are in difficult situations that we can call people, that we can maybe upfront arrange it, that hey, are you my buddy when I'm in a difficult situation, or maybe two
That's
people,
it.
so if someone
That's
rejects that you have another person, so
that's
and also not to take the rejection as a, oh, they don't like me or something, like it's their own borders and they also have to do some things, and it's not about that I have to tell you everything. It's about that you're there for me in this situation shortly
total.
to give me empathy. And yes, that it's also when we want to bring in our community more motivation, maybe it's about talking more about ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes, bringing trust into the community so that the community can trust us.
Totally.
Yes. I would end the record now and maybe I would say some last words like thank you, Tobi, for
Yes.
now, that you are here for us, for the community, for your very, very, very important, wonderful work which nourishes us, what gives us hope and love and also connection. Thank you for that. So, and for all the people who are looking this on YouTube, our next time is the 31st January. I'm looking into the topic, what is it in English? Zugehörigkeitsgefühl.
Yes, belong.
Belonging, because it has so much to do with also trust, with community, and maybe this will be our topic. So thank you for now, and I say bye bye to the YouTube
Bye bye. Ciao.
guys.